everybody, and welcome to our coaching conversations with Paul and Kapil. Kapil, I was just thinking, we've just come into a new year, and I thought we should have a conversation about goals. Why do we set them? What are they for? And maybe in particular, why do we fail? We set them and maybe never reach them. So I was wondering, do you want to start with talk a little bit about goals and how you're feeling about that?
Yeah, no, definitely. And when it comes to the new year, there's a lot of conversation about New Year's resolutions and why do we have them, and why is it that so often people just break their resolution after a week or two, maybe 3, and that's it, back to where they were in square one. So goal setting in my life has been quite a big sort of aspect, especially because it gives me a lot of purpose, a reason to wake up in the morning, and something to really strive for as well. For me, I like the fact that goals are very specific, have a number against it. I don't know what it is, but something about a number to put against a goal and make it crystal clear and concrete. Because with numbers, you can just change the needle and challenge that needle every day with a new goal. So for me, what I like to do is set a goal, but make it very specific. So if I say to myself, oh yeah, I want to go to the gym more often, what does that mean? Like, how much is more often compared to what I'm doing right now? Is it a new goal for me? Is it a new action I need to take? Do I go to the gym 3 times a week? Or what does that look like? Actually really break it down in those measurements. So yeah, for me, numbers is the key. Numbers is the key to success in any kind of form.
So let's talk about that. I find that really interesting when you're talking about numbers. So I guess what you're talking about is that when you say I go to the gym, and then 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, that's obviously a number that you then try to hang on to materialize so you can measure it. Is that how you see it?
Yeah, this is it. It goes back to an old quote which goes, what doesn't get measured doesn't get done. So what you can measure, you can actually track yourself against to see how far you are, or how close you are to actually achieving that goal. So the difference between saying 3 times a week to saying more often every week, so really breaking down to numbers, it just gives me more clarity in where I am with those goals. And if I'm falling behind, I know very quickly, and the feedback is there, just there and very specific for me.
That's really interesting. I mean, I get that, because we're talking about being very specific about something so that, as you said, you can measure it. I'm wondering, I always had this thought, and I don't know what you think. What if we had one day in the week, where we did just the opposite? Said, today we are not setting any goals. We are getting up in the morning, we are doing what we're supposed to do, having breakfast, exercise, going to work, talking to friends or whatever, but we are consciously not setting any goals. And the reason why I'm saying that, because it links with one of the other videos we've done on stress. What if we actually could stop stress a little bit by saying today is a goal-free day, live in the moment, presence.
I think a day without goals, I can see that there are times as where we need to put our mental health first, where we just need time to just have that space to ourselves, just to think as humans, rather than to almost be governed by goals each and every day, each and hour, every day as well. So even for myself, I take a day off sometimes, maybe once every couple of weeks, every month, just to have time to myself and say, you know what, okay, I have these goals in the background. I know they're there for me to be conquered at some point. But the fact is also, I need to also slow down myself as a human, just say, you know what, today I need to just be me. I need to just really not just react to what goes around me, but I'm actually just being in the moment and being present, no matter who I'm talking to, or where I am in the room, or wherever I am in the world, really. I just want to be there, rather than just saying to myself, oh yeah, I need to do this, this, and this. I need to have this goal settled today. I need to have this goal conquered today. Just be in the moment, and that's quite important, because you need to have a good balance between that mental health, that being that sort of person where you're just mindful of what's happening around you and just being in that moment, but also having that purpose and having those goals in front of you as well. So it can be a challenge to find the balance between being goal free and goal full, let's say. But it takes a bit of practice here and there, but it works wonders when you do give you time to actually be away from a goal for a small amount of time.
Yes, and I think you said something really important. Away from the goal, but being with yourself. And that's something that I use a lot in my coaching practice when I talk with my clients about that. that, be with yourself firstly, so you can recognize who that is and how the self feels, and
Yeah.
then focus on the goals afterwards. And you can be so focused on achieving this, that, and the other that you actually don't notice what's happening around you. So it's like going for a walk and you don't notice the buildings, you don't notice what things look like, the people who are around you, or if you're out in nature, you're just following the path. You're walking, just following the path, but you're not looking at the trees or the ponds or whatever what's actually happening. So I think that's really important, using presence and give the goals a break every now and then so you can focus on yourself. I think that was really a lot of wisdom in what you said there. So do you think there are different kinds of goals in terms of value?
So it's important to know why you have a goal. If you do create a goal, where is that goal coming from? So the question is, okay, I've got a goal, but did I create that goal myself? Or is it someone or something that's imposed that goal on me? And this is where it gets quite tricky. You have to really understand the two pillars here, because one is a goal which is specific to you. It's something that you created yourself, and it's got more meaning for you. It's aligned to your values, it's aligned to you as a person. Also, you have goals which are imposed on you. So, for example, I need to follow a certain career path. But is that because that's what you wanted, or someone, maybe your parent or a neighbor or a friend wanted for you? And therefore, you have to follow their rules and follow their guidelines. So it's important to know what you think you'll feel like. If you can really ask yourself, how would it feel for me to actually achieve that goal? Is that really going to satisfy you? You're going to be fulfilled? Or are you just going to be fulfilled for yourself? Or are you just going to be happy that you ticked a box with somebody else? And this is where it gets, it's a very fine line between the two. So it's quite a important concept for me anyway, and for my clients, because to know where that goal is coming from is just the starting point. Even before you measure it or know what it means, it's where is it coming from? And that's the best starting point for me.
It's funny you say that, because that's a question I often ask to my clients. I say, who is talking? And then they pause and they say, what do you mean? And I say, I mean, who is talking? Is it you who is talking, or is it somebody else? And that's exactly what you're just mentioning there. And I think that's true, thinking about where our concepts about who we are and what's important to us, where does it actually come from? The other thing I think in terms of goals that I think is really important is if you have a partner, whether you're married or you live together with someone, that's not really the issue, but whether it's a partner that you live with, how often do you sit down and discuss goals or non-goals for that matter, and how much is that part of your being together? I think that can be quite effective, but also quite a challenge.
Yeah, and I've seen that in my life as well. And it's because you find those goals which are important for you as a person, but also you and your partner as well. Like, so you can actually, you're heading towards a target together. And there's nothing more fulfilling to be working as part of a team when we have two people working towards a common purpose, right? So it's important to have that transparency, that communication, just so you both have a clear idea where you guys are heading, both as an individual, but also as a couple as well. So for me, it's a matter of actually just having concrete short-term, medium goal, long-term goals, and then really not to have everything laid out for you, but at least you have some sort of direction where you're going to in the first place, so you know exactly where you're heading towards. And I think that's very important, because it doesn't really end there. Also, you also got a big family. I read a book, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and they talked about having a mission statement for a family. I thought, what, a mission statement for a family? I thought that only goes for companies and corporations, and I thought, wow, for a family. So even a mission statement gives you direction about where that family are heading to and what their values are, and it's awesome. So the possibilities are endless when it comes to goals for any kind of individual or group or families as well.
Yeah, there are a couple of things I want to pick up on. I mean, from my own family life, before my wife and I had children, we sat down and discussed together how we should bring up our children. what was the vision for that, and what we'd agreed upon, and the different experiences that we've had. And I think one thing that was really interesting was the one decision that we made together was that we brought up our children without television, which is highly unusual, of course. Now that they're older, of course, they got their phones and laptops, but they grew up without television. And this day, today, we still don't have one. And that was a very specific, the goal behind that was spending time with them, giving them the gift of reading, of being bilingual, and of having time together with them, not in front of a screen. So conversation and developing language. And those were very specific goals that we had as a family. And it has made wonders to their upbringing and to us as a family. The other thing I want to pick up on, which is what you said, was, and there's a word that comes to mind, and that's the word interdependent. Because you were talking about moving together as a couple, for example, realizing a goal. And it's really about how you see self-actualization as a person in sort of the highest sense and order of the word. And I think being interdependent, for me, is the essence of it all. Yes, work on your own, being able to do things on your own is great too. But as you said, being part of a team and having a goal that you then reach is a fantastic experience.
Yeah, and I think you can almost represent that in some kind of Venn diagram where you've got yourself as a person and your partner as a separate person, but then you've got the overlap as well, where you're working together for a common goal. But it's just an overlap, it's not like one goal or one circle. We're still individuals at the end of the day. So I think that's probably the best way to really represent that. And just to back to your previous point about the television as well, because you know, like I'm just on the same level as you when it comes to TV. Like I just need to, if I'm watching anything at all, that's very minimal, by the way. If it's anything at all, I want that to be purposeful, so I know exactly why I'm watching certain things, a documentary or series that's actually serving me as a person. So when you explain to your kids that, you know what, we're taking the TV away from you, how did you have that conversation, and what was their reaction to it, and how do they understand why it was taken away from them? How did that happen for you?
Yeah, so to avoid that situation,
Yeah.
we made sure that we didn't have any television before they were born.
Ooh.
So the minute that my wife was expecting our first child, we made sure that we didn't actually have any. We had that conversation beforehand, and we said, you know what, we don't use it very much ourselves. We are busy both working. The time that we do have left with our children is not going to happen in front of a screen.
Wow. So it just makes you think all those years when they could have been watching TV, how much of that's been taken away from you guys as a family to be together as a unit and be present with each other. But from you saying that, actually, you know what? TV here is not required. Let's actually use these children and bring them up in a different way.
Yeah.
And actually spend time with the family and actually, you know, make themselves better persons themselves.
Yeah. So I don't think there's any right or wrong way of doing these things, but it worked for us. And that was a very specific goal that we had in mind. The other thing I was thinking about is when we talk about interdependence, that's also something that I think is important at work. You know, that if you work well with each other, and also linking back to our previous video on stress, if you work as an interdependent team and share your joys and successes and failures, it becomes so much easier to deal with.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's when you work, if you work as an individual only, you can only get so far. When you work as a team, going towards that common goal, you go far and you go fast at the same time, you know? So definitely when you've got someone who's supporting you, whether there's 1 or 2, 3, a dozen people around you, then you get a new energy coming together, you know, and you work in a whole different vibration. It's when you get all these ideas coming together, you're like, oh wow, this is amazing. So doing that rather than having something to be done by yourself, where, you know, the energy is probably up and down, it can be very volatile, but when you've got people around you, there's nothing like it. You've just got a big buzz. Yeah, no, definitely. And when you're working as an individual, you can only go so far. But when you've got a group around you working towards the same goal, you can go even further and at a faster pace as well. because you actually have all these people bringing new ideas, new knowledge, new skills to the table, and you can utilize that to your own benefit and actually create a better result as a whole. And the biggest victory you can have is one which is a victory for the entire group rather than a victory just for yourself. That's how I feel as well. It's nothing more fulfilling than having to have people around you supporting you and supporting each other as well. So it goes a long way.
Yeah, getting a goal, reaching it together with other people is definitely a wonderful feeling and experience. And you learn so much from it because you always learn from other people that can make you a better person. That's really great. So have you set yourself any goals for the new year?
I had a couple in mind, yeah. First of all, one is to be more active myself. So, for example, I've been going to the gym here and there, but with coronavirus last year, it's just like, wow, it's been up and down. So, but now I'm looking at a whole different way where you just can't judge and you can't really foresee what the circumstances could be like for us this year, but we can still be purposeful. So for me, it's still being, again, specific about goal setting for going to the gym. So I set myself a target of going 4 times a week, and each session would be no less than 45 minutes and no more than 1 hour 15. So I know exactly how long I'm going for and how often I'm going for as well, week in, week out. And therefore I know exactly whether I'm sticking to that target or I'm drifting away from there because it's so specific. Another one is actually doing a bit more reading. I'm a big advocate of reading, but I do need to get on top of it a bit more as well. So again, if I want to read a new book, the question is, okay, how much time do I want to dedicate towards that? Is it 10 pages a day? Is it half an hour reading per day, no matter how many pages you get through? So, for example, I'm reading a new book on personal development, and it's a book called No Excuses by Brian Tracy. So my target is to read that within a month and to go through at least 10 pages, no less than 10, no more than 15 pages, 5 times a week. That's my track to get to the end of the book. So again, it's been specific. So those are 2 examples for me. How about yourself? Any goals in particular you want to conquer?
I tend not to set goals in the new year for the very reason that by experience, I know I may not make them. So I don't start the year like that. But yes, there are some in terms of exercise and so on. But what I think would be great is if our viewers could just jot down some of their goals or their thoughts on setting goals, your success, your failures. If you could write a comment and click subscribe, that would be amazing because we'd love to hear about your experiences of goal setting so we can have a community about how do we set goals and what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah, let's not forget, we don't have to wait till the new year to set a goal or to wait for the start of a month, a brand new month or a week to start a goal. It can happen from any time because success and goals, they don't recognize time. They don't recognize a Monday or the first day of a year. They recognize effort and action there and then. So you can start in this moment right now. After you hear this conversation, you can just write down, like you said, the goal that you want and just work on that from day one, tomorrow, rather than wait until the next week or the next month. So the world is your oyster, eh?
Absolutely. Fantastic, Kapil. Well, thank you so much again. It was always great to chat to you. And I hope that our viewers enjoyed this talk.